So America's crumbling and you want to escape. Comment sections all the time are telling me that I need to get up and move to Canada. Come on, brother. Move up to our snowy utopia and try our vast varieties of maple syrup. But I say it's not as simple as that. Look, I'm sure Canada is great, but it certainly has its own problems. America has its own problems. Which ones are worse? Pretty obvious. Look, I'm not an expert when it comes to Canada. I've been to Toronto once and it was more like Boston in appearance, but just had a lot more people apologizing. Cost about as much as a private jet. In our cities, you have to step over a ton of needles just to get to your next serving of avocado toast. Our political system in America feels like a reality TV show that's being ran by a drunk uncle, which is growing more and more detached from the reality of the normal American person. But Canada has its own issues. They're pretending they're all polite up there. I think it's just passive aggressiveness, but at the same time, they're freezing their asses off and have to pay $8 for a loaf of bread. So let's break this down a little bit deeper, right? Like a divorced couple from San Francisco trying to split up who has the rights to the air fryer. The biggest thing we have to look at in general is just population size. Canada is a vast, vast country, but it only has 38 million people. America has 330 people. That's like comparing a garage punk band to a sold out Metallica concert. Canada has space and it has snow, right? It has the majesty of its nature. America has nature too. But America has chaos and ambition and a never-ending culture war that makes the Thunderdome feel like a yoga retreat. But let's talk cash. America is a place of opportunity where if you make it here, you can make it big. But at the same time, you can lose everything as fast as you can say crypto cash. The average American makes about $70,000 a year, but the median wage after taxes is about $37,000. Good luck buying a house unless you're going to sell your organs on the black market. And what's the median cost of a home in America right now? $400,000. In California, $800,000. And that's literally for a shack near the beach with no plumbing, or no electricity, but at least it comes with 3 homeless people you can keep as pets outside to scare away the rest of the vagrants. It's a sad reality in America right now. Canada is doing better, but not much better at the same time. Toronto and Vancouver are like San Francisco, except as the sushi is not as good. Average price of the homes in the big cities are like $700,000, which is like 500 grand in American money, but their wages are significantly lower than they are here. We always talk about the cost of food and everything in America going up, but it's the same thing in Canada, but like I said, they make less money. They make like 40 or 50,000 Canadian dollars a year, which again, this is like $30,000 and their taxes are insane. It's like if you make $50, cool, but $49 of that's going to go for the good of the people. While I understand a good social safety net, to my puny American mind, it just does sound like a little bit much. But in general, every time I meet a Canadian, they seem to be doing quite prosperous, right? They're happy people. You can actually have a conversation with them and even talk about politics without thinking that they're going to pull out a knife and stab you in the neck. But the cost of groceries in Canada are like, it's like buying a Gucci bag. A gallon of milk in Canada is like $7. In America, it's $4 unless you're at Whole Foods. But Whole Foods these days is becoming affordable. Canada is expensive, America is expensive, but at least in America, you can buy a gun to protect your $4 gallon of milk. In Canada, you're just politely overpaying for everything and saying sorry to the cashier. The big thing everyone really talks about when talking about going to Canada, unless you're one of the super rich, is of course the healthcare. Universal healthcare is great. But if you're an American using the universal healthcare there, the fact is you're not actually paying for it. If you're actually paying the taxes there, then yeah, it can be a bit of a hassle. I'm sure it can seem like robbery, but at the same time, like I said, you're not going to be getting $250,000 worth of medical debt just because you got ran over by a moose. In America, if you get cancer, they're going to treat you, but they're also going to take your house. In America, our healthcare system is like a sick game show where you're going to roll the dice just to see if your healthcare provider is actually going to cover your bill. You get sick, you roll the dice. If you get lucky, insurance is going to pay 10% of that $50,000 bill that you got. If you're not lucky, you got to sell your car just to pay for stitches. The average American pays $12,000 per person per year for healthcare insurance. For Canadians, it's actually baked into their taxes already, so they're not surprised by it. But they're also not going to be getting hit with surprise surgeries more often because they're actually able to go to the doctor without the fear that if they get bad news, they're going to be put into financial ruin. Here's the truth. In Canada, it's slower, but fairer. And in America, the healthcare system here is fantastic if you're rich. And if you're not, you're just praying to WebMD while drinking a bottle of whiskey. So Canada wins this round when it comes to healthcare because healthcare in America is essentially like going to a casino where the house is always going to win. And the only prize you have is bankruptcy. Let's get away from the money talk and let's actually talk about the culture and the vibes. America has the raw energy, baby. It has the hostility. It has the anger. It has the spectacle. It's the land of Hollywood, Wall Street, and people screaming at each other over politics on X. You can be anything you want in America as long as you're okay that there's a 99% chance that you're going to be a failure and broke. But if you make it, you can be a billionaire, you can be a conspiracy theorist, you can be a billionaire conspiracy theorist. There's always something to argue about. There's always something to debate about. You can argue about guns, you can argue about politics, you can argue about education, you can argue about whether pineapple belongs on pizza. And each time you actually engage on a debate on any of these subjects, there's always the risk of death. So America has many problems, but at least you cannot debate on the fact that it isn't very exciting. Canada's got a different vibe altogether. It's like America's nice cousin, who's really into hockey, really into craft beer. They really seem polite, but what they actually are is incredibly passive aggressive. Like, they're gonna say sorry when they bump into you, but they're gonna be incredibly judgmental when you fail to recycle your Tim Hortons cup. Canada's culture is easier, it's less in your face, right? It's a lot calmer, but they definitely have their own drama. Quebec's been trying to secede for at least 10 years. They committed just as many atrocities against their indigenous people as we did, so they have their same problems. They're just a lot more quiet about it. Let's talk about freedom. America's obsessed with freedom. You can have the freedom to have 47 different guns, freedom to say whatever you want, and freedom to go absolutely broke chasing the American dream. Canada has freedom too, but it's more like, hey, you can be yourself, just be quiet about it and pay your taxes. So in the end, America is like a circus and Canada is like a library, and you really just got to pick what kind of poison you want at that point. I think when you're young, it's fun. You want to jump into chaos, right? You want to join a riot. You want to throw a rock at a police officer. I get that. Hey, we've all been there. But at some point you get a little bit older, trade in your favorite band's t-shirt and you start wearing some nice, soft cashmere sweaters, and you just want a quieter life. Canada is that quieter life. Along with that freedom comes a big difference in safety. Canada is always going to be safer, although the dangers are going to be a lot different. America has 120 guns per 100 people, right? Canada has 34 for every 100 people. So on that one, America wins. In general, in Canada, you're going to be a lot safer. In America, there's a pretty high risk compared to the rest of the world of actually getting shot. In America, Canada, you're pretty safe unless you piss off a moose. As somebody who's lived in a place where there's many moose, I can tell you that they tend to be pretty docile when they're around people, but as soon as you go out in the woods and you run into one, they become murderous killing machines. So it may sound like a joke, but no, it is a real risk. When you're in America, every trip to the gas station feels like you're auditioning to a Quentin Tarantino movie. So that risk of being shot randomly for no reason at least comes excitement to define your life. Big thing for me that no one really talks about when they're talking about Canada, because I guess when the other side of the debate, right, in America is living in a economy and a country that's constantly teetering towards and is kicked over into the collapse. Canada, the typical winter is 9 months. So if you like sun, if you like beaches, it's just not a place for you. If you like tropical weather, it's not a place for you. If you like slipping into a slow madness because you haven't left your house because you've been snowed in for a few weeks, and you're thinking about eating your dog, he's just looking a little bit tasty because all you have is ramen noodles because you've been taxed so much that's all you can afford at the grocery store, then Canada's a place for you. It's one of the things America does have in spades over Canada is just a variety of different environments. We have everything. We have swamps, we have deserts, we have mountains, we have forests, we have amazing beaches and coastlines. So for a lot of people, if you don't want to live in an igloo, you can always just move to Sedona and start a sourdough grilled cheese pop-up truck. There's options. So in the end, is life better in Canada? Yes. But here's the deal. If you want stability, healthcare, and a quieter life where you're not dodging bullets or medical bills, then it's definitely the way to go. But it's expensive, it's boring, and you spend half your life shoveling snow. America, on the other hand, it's a wild ride. It's more exciting. It's more chaotic. It's more dangerous. There's more opportunity. There's more of everything, but it's just not as safe, right? It's like comparing a minivan to a monster truck. Like, one is safer and more reliable, but the other one has a lot more horsepower. It can crush your neighbor's minivan. For me personally, I don't think I'll be making a move to Canada anytime soon. Listen, I thrive in madness. I like a safe, slow place. Yeah, of course, that's nice sometimes, but I'm a creature of the chaos. I mean, listen to me. This is where I came from, baby. Am I going to stay in the United States? Absolutely not. This place is descending into utter madness, and it's just everyone's at each other's throats, and the economy's collapsing, and everyone has absolutely lost their sense of humor. All right, that's my take, though. Canada and America, right? Two countries, same continent, Always a debate, always an argument. Hit the like button if you're Team USA. Put sorry in the comments if you're Canadian. And subscribe if you're just as confused as I am whether what's better. But stick around for more content, because why not? Next time we'll talk about whether Florida is a better country than both of these. So good times. Absolutely. Thanks for stopping by. We appreciate the support as always on this channel. Think about becoming a member. We don't mind donations. Throw us some money. That's always good. Got a 5-month-old upstairs. Food's getting more expensive. These videos eventually are going to get me fired from my job, which is a nice job, but I like these videos. And I'd rather pursue a hobby than spend my entire life being a stooge for a finance company. But it is what it is. Everyone, thank you for stopping by. Enjoy your Sunday. Go to church or not. Have a picnic or barbecue. Make sure you're wearing your bulletproof vest. And if you get injured, see if you can go to a veterinarian, because it's going to be a lot cheaper than actually going to the hospital. Thank you guys for stopping by.